Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drunkards Walk, the podcast. My name is Matt Hartman. I am one of the hosts of Drunkards Walk. I'll be guiding you through this journey, or perhaps I will just be going on this journey and you'll be listening along. But I won't go alone. Oh, no. Oh, no, listener. I will have with me my faithful sidekick, Jethro Nolen.
Sidekick?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That implies, first of all, you've introduced a lot of hierarchical terms in the first few seconds of the podcast. First of all, you've introduced me as a sidekick, which I am not short round to your Indiana Jones.
Well,
so let's just nip that in the bud.
Wow.
For a lot of
reasons.
reasons.
That's the one you went to, huh? Okay.
Listen, well, I tell you what, given your chosen metaphor at the end of the last episode, I don't think you're in any position to be throwing stones.
I don't even remember what that was.
Yeah, because you were 3 sheets to the wind.
That's
all right. Hashtag cask strength. Second of all, you're not guiding anyone. Like you're going on the journey. I'm going on the journey, and there is no guide. We're stumbling towards our destination.
We are guideless.
We are guideless.
Yes.
Other than our own unerring sense of righteousness, and of course, undercut by the other person's constant negative criticism. So.
Very true. Very true. Well, why don't you go ahead and, for anybody listening for the first time, tell them what we do, Jethro.
Hey there. First of all, so if you're brand new to this, what this is called is a podcast, and it is a form of audio entertainment.
Now you're being patronizing. Stop it.
It differs from other forms of audio entertainment in that this is not a commercial activity in any way, shape, or form. There's no hope of profit from what's going on here. You might have heard
this podcast is that way. Not every podcast is that way.
Absolutely. No, there are tons of podcasts that make loads of money. This is not one of them.
No.
But yeah, so this podcast is, we think, unique because we go from one Wikipedia page to another Wikipedia page only by clicking on the various links within Wikipedia, although apparently not all of them, according to new rules that Matt Hartman has imposed on us.
All right. Now, hold on. Now, you're not going to be bitter about this the whole time, are you?
Yeah, no, I think you've underestimated the degree to which I can hold a grudge.
Okay. I don't think that I have, actually. I am anticipating it. But I will say, you mentioned how unique this podcast is. You know, I do have to point out, your daughter mentioned to us that this is a game, the Wikipedia game.
Yes.
is a bit of a thing. So the other day, a friend of mine sent me an Instagram video of a teacher that uses wiki races as brain breaks for her students. And she gives them a starting point and an ending point, and then they either have to get there in the fewest number of links or as fast as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just blown away by the fact that this is so commonly known. And the thing is, like, I wonder if people think that we had done those or that we were familiar with that before we started, because I wasn't at all. Had you heard of this before we started doing this?
I mean, there is a TED Talk about this kind of idea. It's called Reinventing the Encyclopedia Game. And it's he uses like the touch point of Chimborazo, which is a top in Ecuador.
Yeah,
which I believe we've mentioned previously.
You did, you did mention that before, yeah.
But honestly, it taken to its most abstract mathematical form, which is my want, as you know.
Yes,
like,
of course.
This is just an optimal path discovery process.
Oh, sure.
That we've thrust onto the context of Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So it is unique from a certain point of view.
I think you'll find that all the truths you hold on to are dependent on a certain point of view.
Not a certain point of view? Okay.
Not to get too
I understand.
Ben Kenobi on you.
That's all right. I appreciate it when you get a little Ben Kenobi on me.
There we go. Well, one day I hope to
sound good.
I hope to stand a few meters away from you post my own demise with a glowing halo around me, surrounded by two of my closest Jedi friends.
Yeah, I hope that happens as well. Well, I also hope that we get a destination for today, because we do have our starting point of Prodigy online service where we ended last week after a very short trip. Which could have been even shorter, we found out.
Could have been
two.
short in the number of nodes and vertices, but very
Yes.
long in the amount of time it took
True.
us to argue through our differences.
Very true. Very true. So where will we get this destination from, Jethro?
Well, as you know, we traditionally have a guest who provides that destination, and this week's guest is none other than mine own brother, Michael John Nolen. Nick, welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining the podcasts.
Absolutely.
How's it
Pleasure
going?
to be here.
Yeah, how's it going?
It's going well. Well.
Good.
So
Excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we're delighted to have you in whatever hotel you're zooming in from. Is that a Marriott? Are you a Marriott guy or a Hilton guy?
I am definitely a Marriott guy.
Oh,
And
wow.
why definitely a Marriott guy?
Wow. Yeah, straight to it.
Well, my past travel history. I had actually, had toes dipped in every single vendor out there. And when I started my traveling job about 10 years ago, my colleagues at the time were all Marriott people. So I just hopped on board. In addition to that, Marriott was the one who had retained all of the points I had earned from 10 years previous.
Gotcha.
So I was able to retain those, and they've just been my go-to of choice because they're one of the ever-present super chains that are out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
My current employer, when I joined them, was clearly like a Marriott house where all their events were at Marriott properties, but I have a Hilton Honors Amex card. By the way, if you want the Hilton Honors Amex card number, join our Patreon and you will get my personal.
That's not true.
Nice.
That's
if
not a thing.
$100 a month,
Yeah.
you get my social security number.
No, we don't do any of that.
I already have that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. Well, to be fair, you're in the family, so it's you can whittle it down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I'm a Hilton guy.
Jethro, this is great because this is this your second brother that we've had on?
So this is, yes. So I invited my favorite brother first.
Okay. Yeah.
My favorite brother, Dan, who
Right.
I love more than myself in a lot of ways.
Right.
And then I also have another brother, Mick, who the scientist said we should keep, even though he was an experiment gone awry.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
But you actually had Dan on twice before Mick.
That is true. And I actually asked Dan if he was available tonight, and he was not. So
Not available. So.
then I asked a guy I met outside of an Albertsons, and he said no.
Wait a minute, an Albertsons? So you live in a place where there's an Albertsons.
I didn't say that I met him recently. I just said that I met him.
Boise. It's Boise. That's my guess.
There you go. Yeah. Again,
You haven't even told your brother where you are?
Listen, he's not my favorite brother. I want to make that clear.
I'm pretty sure I'm about number 7 at this point.
Well,
Wow.
you know what? You don't know about Dad's other family in Louisiana. So.
Well, this is great. I'm always happy to meet a relative of Jethro because I always want to know more about him when he was young. Because I only met Jethro like about 10 years ago.
As a mature adult.
Right. Well, as an adult. So tell me a little something about like what was Jethro like as a child? Because I have a tough time picturing it.
I'll also remind you, Mick, before you say anything particularly incriminating, that I have an equal amount of incriminating information on you.
Yeah, but nobody.
And I also know the person who's editing this podcast. So be careful about the anecdotes you choose to relate.
So as having parents, both of whom have math degrees, I've done the calculations, and I have twice as many children as Jethro does.
Oh.
And so, I decided long ago that when these questions came up from his progeny, that I would not reveal anything because there's twice as much that damage he could do than as I could do. So
I see.
This is true.
Although I did review their previous podcasts with the rest of the family in preparation for this,
mm-hmm.
and I did fully remember the tiger and the sign joke.
You did.
Less the punchline. I'll be honest, I did not recall the joke actually had a punchline, but I did remember the full joke, and so it honestly cracked me up when I heard that the other day.
It's a solid bit.
I know it's timeless. It's aged well.
Yeah. Also,
just as good as Yellowbeard.
Oh yeah, yeah, really, Yellowbeard. If you haven't watched it recently, folks, get on that, and you'll be like, wow, ooh, Eric Idle has some issues. So you mentioned child knowledge of adults' malfeasance at an earlier age. Like, so I remember there was a phase in Maddie's life in which she absolutely wanted to hear the worst stories about me as a kid, like any dirt, any terrible things.
I recall that. I recall every Thanksgiving she would ask. Yes.
Okay. So do your children have a similar curiosity about your sordid youth, or was it just my warped daughter who had that?
Not really. We're pretty open in our family. We've not tried to hide anything. It's wonderful being married to an LPC. You have a lot of talking in the family, and getting to know everything about everybody, and it's quite valuable. So there's not really anything that we hide from them necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to get too serious on you. Sorry about that.
My bullshit detector's going off.
I believe it.
It's very different from my marriage, because Christy mostly just reads Flowers in the Attic over and over again.
But she reads it out loud, which is the thing that really weirds me out.
I hope she provides cookies every time she reads that.
She really does.
Powdered sugar.
By the way, for those of you who are under 50, that's a solid reference. If you don't know Flowers in the Attic, you really need, first of all.
Well, and honestly, you have to skip the book and go straight for the 80s, 90s TV movie.
Oh, I disagree. Not that I've read the book. I've never read the book. I never will. But
good for you.
I disagree. I've not read it.
The book. So the one distinguishing characteristic of the book that I remember, and again, this was like a republishing.
The book you haven't read?
Yes.
The cover.
Okay.
He's going to talk about the cover. Right?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I didn't read it. I drove past the library.
So,
I figured that was
you know what?
enough.
You don't have to read a book to have an experience of it, Nick.
I'm with you 100%.
So they republished the book after the movie came out, and the cover of the book had like oval cutouts for portraits of like the kids.
Oh, as the 1980s, yeah.
And you open the cover, and there were holes in the cover of the book, and like that was like an entirely new science. That was like quantum physics to the Newtonian mechanics of previous book covers that were not hole laden.
But then they started doing that a lot. I feel like that was the first, or if it might be not the first, it was definitely one of the first ones. But then they started doing it all the time.
No, it became a gimmick, absolutely. But then it was like a horrific revelation.
Oh yeah,
it was like, oh my god. And it's.
Sorry, I'm having to search for that right now because I don't recall that detail.
It is such a terrible movie. It's super watchable though. Highly recommend.
Oh, well, is that where we're going today? Is that have you stumbled upon it, Jethro?
No, that would be amazing if I had accidentally referenced.
No, Mick's shaking his head. He says no.
Mick's shaking his head.
No.
Well, then tell us where is it that we're going to head? If it's not Flowers in the Attic, as I would have dreamed. What will it be today?
Given your starting point, and as a computer scientist, I was so tempted to pick an obscure computer science reference or thing that would take you some challenges.
I hate to break this to you, but we have a lot of computer science fans of the podcast that have already taken
both of them.
Rabbit holes. Yeah.
Okay.
We get a lot of middle-aged white guys who work in IT.
I'm gonna have to shift gears, and given the whole point of this podcast is you're following links, I want you to get to the Archaeopteryx.
The Archaeopteryx. And
nice.
what can you tell us about the Archaeopteryx?
So I first discovered the Archaeopteryx when I took a geology class in the last year of college. And the Archaeopteryx is the missing link between birds and dinosaurs.
Okay.
And there's a sporting goods company, which is an abbreviated version of the word. It's Arc'teryx, that there's just an apostrophe in the middle of it and half the letters missing. They sell backpacks and jackets and such, similar to what North Face did in the early 90s, that adopted that. And it was funny when I first saw that. I was like, I know exactly what that shape is. The Archaeopteryx, there were 6 of them found, 6 of the fossils found. Mm-hmm. And they proved the link between birds and dinosaurs.
I remember when I first heard about the idea, and I think it was sadly Jurassic Park that introduced the concept to me that dinosaurs evolved into birds, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! That's ridiculous." and it's 100% true.
Yeah.
And
this was the proof of it. Sorry, Matt.
Oh no, I was just going to say. Well, so Archaeopteryx was found well before that, but that around that time that Jurassic Park was written initially was one like when this was all kind of coming. Like they were like, "Oh, this is definitely the thing," and
that was like my last semester at college too, so it coincided nicely with me finding it.
And it's funny though, because sometimes I will find myself looking at birds and going like, oh my God, they do move just like dinosaurs. Except the reason my brain is doing that is because the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park were designed to move like birds.
You don't have a dinosaur in your backyard?
Right, exactly. So like I had this idea, like I will sometimes, I'm just not thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, definitely. That moves exactly like those raptors do. And then it's like, what? Those are fictional things that were created to look like birds, you idiot.
And they're CG.
Yes, exactly. So dumb, but I definitely do it. I definitely think it from time to time. So, well, this is awesome. I love this Archaeopteryx. I remember, learning about that as well and seeing like the feathers, and they had the artist rendition of like how it would have looked and all that kind of stuff. I remember those things. So that's awesome. I love this idea. Now, I do have to ask though, if we had not had an online service as our starting point, what is the obscure computer science-y thing that would have like first popped into your head to send it? Because this is going to give our computer science listeners a little thrill when they hear it. It's going to give them a little endorphin rush when they hear you say it.
Yeah, Bill Fisher and Brett Baver are waiting with bated breath to hear your response to this.
Extended Bacchus-Naur form.
Oh, right, yeah.
Extended.
Yeah. Don't lie to me. You don't have no idea what that is.
Yeah, certainly not.
Extended Bacchus-Naur form.
Bacchus-Naur form.
Okay.
EBNF.
EBNF. There you go. Well, my understanding is it's a family of meta-syntax notations, any of which can be used to express the context-free grammar.
I can't believe you don't stop.
EBNF is used to make a formal description of a formal language, such as a computer programming language. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. That's my take.
It was either that or something like push down autonoma, or
I love it.
Well, so let me ask you this: are you familiar with Big O notation?
Absolutely.
So Big O notation was one of the early suggestions that we had, and ended up being a season 1 suggestion that we took that we had a hell of a time getting to, because Matt and I are not computer scientists.
Had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, our nerdery is mostly
I honestly
Star Trek, Star Wars universes.
I honestly would have gone with Big Indian.
Oh.
Spelled ENDIAN.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And that has a dual reference from the, I believe, Gulliver's Travels story.
Well, I'm sure we could have made a swift path to it then.
Oh, gosh. Yikes.
Jonathan Swift fun, everybody. Put that on your bingo cards for season 7. Who thought that was going to happen?
Nobody.
All right. Nobody
did.
Well, you're welcome.
I love it.
All right. So the Archaeopteryx, out of curiosity, is there a place that the Archaeopteryx remains were first discovered or identified that you know of?
I want to say Germany, but honestly, it's been 35 years since I did learn that, and so I'd have to search.
So what you're saying then is that a University of Texas education just doesn't really stick with you? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what
honestly, you want to know the funniest thing is the thing that stuck with me the most is that I did it for my second. So I had to do a natural science sequence in my computer science, and my geology was the part I did for that, and I loved it. I'm an outdoors person, and the thing that has stuck with me the most, other than that paper I wrote, which is kind of about evolution, and was getting to use a early version of Photoshop and I had scanned in the Archeops image, and I had learned the magic wand tool in Photoshop.
Nice.
And it did, in 2 seconds, it did exactly what I wanted, because the scan had bleed through from the text from the page behind it.
Mhm.
And so I've just never forgotten that.
There you go. And you've probably used that way more than you've used any knowledge that you would have gained about Archaeopteryx.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
So there
I'm
you
sure
go.
that if there were an Archaeopteryx here today, that he or she would be proud that they went extinct, and the only vestige of remaining human knowledge was your knowledge of the Adobe Photoshop magic wand tool.
I think Mick is right, though. I think it was Germany, because as I recall, there's a German name for it that is not Archaeopteryx, that is something else, and I don't.
Schaffenfluger.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
That was another option I was going down, is random German words, because I'm sure those would be a trick to get to. So
that is true. We'd have to go on to wikipedia.de and see what we could find.
Go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for the destination, Mick. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And also
Awesome.
thank you for being one of my top 2 brothers. I really appreciate it. You've done a hell of a job.
That does remind me. I did want to ask you about a contents of a Fireball bottle that was missing that I had left.
Oh yeah, you
Do you have any
drank all
knowledge
that.
of such?
Yeah, you drank that on the air.
Listen. Yeah,
I had left it in my childhood bedroom, and I came back and it was empty, and it was quite a large bottle. I was a little surprised.
Listen, first of all, the title of the podcast is Drunkard's Walk. And also
I really consider that my Patreon contribution, quite frankly.
well
done.
you're still not getting my credit card number.
That's okay. I can get it.
And also it's mom and dad's house. It's not your house. So I consider that abandoned property.
Well, I just, your comments about being in your childhood bedroom with your crayon, it just made me think that, I could lay claim to my stuff that I put there recently.
Okay. Well, I'll also point out that we have a variety of scheming nieces who all frequently visit mom and dad's house. And any one of them could have consumed copious amounts of cinnamon Fireball whiskey while visiting. And who's to say if it was me or not?
Do you record the video portion of this as well?
No, we do.
We do.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, yeah.
We do.
Yeah, okay.
I can send it to you.
Just checking.
We don't post it anywhere. Listen, and Matt, stop helping him.
Why?
Well, here, wait. I wanted to take Matt down a peg, because one of the shows I was listening to was you were talking about the Ben Stiller show.
Okay.
And you had recollected that it had been on MTV, and I was just really disappointed in you, because obviously that was a Fox property.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You know what? I never watched it when it was on the air. I've only seen it on the DVDs. So I had no idea. I didn't know what it was broadcast on. I was guessing MTV, but it was on Fox. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a Fox show.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Mick, I got to say, you're kind of horning in on my territory, because taking Matt down a peg is kind of my deal. So don't, stay in your lane, I guess is what I would say.
Are you defending me, Jethro? Are you defending me?
No, he's defending his territory.
No one beats up my little brother but me. Is that what's happening?
Urinate on it from here, so he's going to do it verbally. So
there we go. All right.
Fantastic.
Well, we're getting a signal from the booth. We have to let you go. I'm terribly sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. That's okay. Long distance charges. I know. Yeah. All right.
Oh, they're playing you off.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
One last piece. I'm just a little disappointed as a puzzle solver. I would love to actually be part of this transition at some point to help you figure it out. And then honestly, as a computer scientist, have you really not written a script to figure this out yet? Because this podcast could easily be replaced.
Yeah.
Well, what we found, Mick, is that it's not the journey. Oh shit! I screwed up.
Yeah, you messed it up.
You know what? No,
man.
Sorry, smoke bomb.
1.75 liters of Fireball will do that to a man.
That's true.
Listen,
that's true.
I didn't have all of that myself.
You know what, though? Actually, if you are interested in being a guest that walks all the way through with us, you could always bid on that at the Arcade Comedy Theater silent auction running. I don't even know when, but it's running soon. Actually, it may have already run once this episode is up, but I think it's running at the. I think it might be running like in the next week. But that's
Honestly,
not
I
going
was
to
really
help any
just,
of our listeners. So,
yeah, I was gonna say I was really just tempted to start my own podcast doing the exact same
ooh,
thing. So
there you go.
just kidding, just kidding.
That'd be a great idea. You can get my brother. Oh, I don't have any brothers.
Yeah.
Well, if I did,
Ah.
that would be a fantastic.
Well, Mick, the joke is on you because the only way you're going to find people who are willing to provide free comedic labor is by doing improv for tens of years first.
That's okay. I have another brother, so I could ask him
Look
to
at
do it out of spite.
There we go. Well, you know what? Spite is the mother of the greatest inventions. So there you go.
Awesome, guys. Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck, and can't wait to listen to the rest of this.
All right. Thanks, Mick.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Cheers. Archaeopteryx.
That's right, Jethro. We've got to get to Archaeopteryx. But before we do, and
I'm ready to go right now, though, Matt.
No, you have to wait because we should have talked about if your brother was having a drink because he talked about Fireball and he might have been drinking Fireball right now.
He was taking the piss out of me for, first of all, I guarantee you my brother was having a drink because he is clearly traveling for business and is sitting alone in a Marriott hotel room. So
there you go.
He's got a 6-pack of cider or something.
But
more importantly,
but how about you? Are you
I'm
having a drink?
I'm in fact, I'm out of our very own Drunkards Walk tumblers. I'm having a Woodford Reserve.
Oh, fantastic!
The old standard because I'm a creature of habit and I tend to go to the same thing over and over again. What about you? I already just using my Karnakian psychic powers.
Yeah, I know.
I suspect that you are having a Penelope bourbon.
I am out of our Drunkards Walk tumbler as well. I am drinking a Penelope bourbon, but it is not a Penelope bourbon that we've had before. It is the Penelope Architect, which is one of their newer ones. It has French oak staves that they finish it with, and there's this awesome drawing on the back. It's a little flavor profile graph, which I just love, and it's over a. It looks like wood. Anyway, it's fall. It's wood, oak. Hey, there you go. But yeah, it's only 104 proof though. So
good. So
I'll probably be all right.
So probably fewer slavery metaphors at the end of this episode.
Listen, I wasn't comparing the intensity of the two things. I was comparing the fact that once you discover something is wrong, you don't continue to do it. That's it. That's all I was saying. Okay. And I happen to use hyperbole and use something that was an extreme example. Okay. I wasn't saying that the two were comparatively the same in any way. And I think our listeners are smart enough to understand that. I'm sorry that you're not.
Well, you know what? I just now is as good as time as any to
the
remind
goodest. Yeah. Tell me about the goodest time, would you?
It is the goodest time. Now is as good a time as
not
any.
What you said. Not what you said, but the listener will know.
You know what? Fuck the listener.
All
you people listening, fuck you. Dave Foreman, go to hell. That's what I'm saying right now.
Oh, Dave, I don't think that at all. And neither does Jethro, really. Just be aware.
No, Dave, you should listen to the shit he talks about you when we're not on the air. Come on.
Don't throw this on me.
I'm doing a heel turn. This is Dark Jethro.
I don't like this at all. Why do you have a goatee all of a sudden? That's weird.
And a top hat. Yeah.
Stop twirling your goatee. That's not right.
Why have a goatee if you can't twirl it?
It's wrong. It's very wrong.
Mischievously.
All right. Well, the other thing we need to do is make our predictions.
We do, in fact.
How long will it take us? How many links? How many steps from Prodigy online service to Archaeopteryx?
I'm gonna guess minutes rather than the number of links.
Oh, don't do that. You'll never come up with that. I'm going to write down a number.
You do that.
I'm going to write down a number. I've done it. I've written down a number. I've circled it because I'm using the same piece of paper that I used last week that I scratched a number out. So I've circled the one that I've done for this week, just so you won't get all up in my jazz about things.
Your business. All right. That's fine. So here we are. We're starting at Prodigy online service.
We are. It is defunct. It is part of the AT&T Incorporated, according to this information, which I think AT&T at one point did own Yahoo. So maybe I was right.
Did they now? Look at that.
Pretty sure that's right. Their headquarters were in White Plains, New York, and then moved to Austin, Texas. Hey, Texas, that's where you used to live.
It's true.
And maybe you still do.
You know what? That is on a need to know basis. And I will say this. I'll make a blanket statement.
Okay.
I do not live in Texas.
Oh, wow. So you've just eliminated like half the country.
No.
Because Texas is huge.
It is, first of all,
huge.
Don't inflate the ego of people who live in Texas anymore, because they don't need it. It's bigger in myth and legend than it is in reality. It's a large state geographically.
Yeah.
It's a populous state, but not more populous than California or Florida. And a lot of the land is just occupied by scrub and jackrabbits and such. So,
well, fair enough on that. I've driven through a little bit of Texas, not a lot, and there was a lot of that scrub that you speak of.
Indeed, there is.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I found it here. On November 6th, 2001, SBC purchased 100% interest in Prodigy and brought it private. On November 14th, 2001, SBC and Yahoo announced the strategic alliance to create the co-branded SBC Yahoo. So there you go. So it's kind of owned by Yahoo at one point.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, bravo. Well done.
There's a lot of references on here to like the World Wide Web, the internet, telecommunications companies, internet companies. You know what there are not a lot of references to?
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, any kind of prehistoric animal of any kind.
So true.
So I'm wondering if I see a link to Latin America, but that would be geographical, so we don't want to go through that.
So I have found something.
Yeah, what do you think?
First of all, I acknowledge and agree with your statement that there's not a lot of dinosaur references on the Prodigy page, which is ironic because it's a bit of a dinosaur.
Take that.
There is, under the conversion to a true ISP section, there is a link to Y2K, which is sort of a catastrophic, apocalyptic type event, not unlike the meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs. So there could be sort of an apocalyptic route that gets us to the Archaeopteryx through Y2K.
Well, that is an interesting idea.
All right. Don't be patronizing.
No, it is an interesting idea.
Your tone is noted, Matt.
I don't love it. But it is.
I don't love it either. But do you have a better one? Is the question.
Well, so stick with me here for just a second, because I know you're not going to like this. But there are references to other things on here that have quote unquote gone extinct, like long distance calls, modems. So maybe there's a possibility of going through there and finding the word extinct, or there's a link to the Apple Macintosh. Now, the Macintosh is an Apple computer, but also an actual apple. And I wonder if perhaps on that page there is a link to the actual fruit, which would get us into biology, which would then get us into animals and dinosaurs and those types of things. What do you think about either of those ideas?
I think I think the idea of using extinct technology as a way to get to the word extinct is a desperate contrarian ploy to not accept my incredibly wonderful suggestion.
That's not why, but it is desperate.
Yeah. I will say that Y2K gets us to apocalypticism more directly than Apple computers get us to fruit and biology. Because I guarantee you that Apple computers almost certainly does not have a link to the fruit apple. Like at best we could get to a disambiguation page, which I don't know if the rules will allow that anymore.
I don't know. It's a good point.
Yeah. Let's wait until we try it. And then Matt's inner rule demon will let him know if that's appropriate or not.
I mean, also, so television is linked on here as well. And I wonder if there have absolutely been countless television shows about dinosaurs. And I wonder, and I understand that the television page isn't going to have dinosaurs on it. I'm not saying that. But I do wonder if there is a path through television and television programming into dinosaurs.
There's certainly a path. There's Land of the Lost. There's the ABC hit family sitcom Dinosaurs.
Right. And
probably other routes. The question is, how quick is that path? Like we're probably spending two or three links to get to dinosaur specific content.
Well,
through
but as we may be,
the incredibly broad category of television.
I mean, apocalyptic what is going to take us a couple of links to get to dinosaurs as well. So I don't know why you're so upset about a couple of links.
Okay, let me ask you this, Matthew.
Yeah, sure.
Have there been more television shows or more predictions of the apocalypse?
The
answer is television shows.
I think that might be.
There's clearly way more television shows.
So you're saying, but this isn't. Okay, but first of all, was it a meteor? Was it a meteor that hit the Earth, or an asteroid? No, it can't be an asteroid because asteroids are only in space. Meteorite. Anyway, the thing that hit the Earth.
Listener, I will just point out that Matt is literally wearing a NASA shirt right now.
I am.
As he makes this proclamation.
You don't fly on the things that are naturally floating around. I'm just saying I don't know that is necessarily going to be connected with something like Y2K because it happened way before that. So
yes, I'm not saying that Y2K and the asteroid that caused the dinosaurs to go extinct are related. I'm saying that there was a lot of paranoia around Y2K, and there was an air of apocalyptic fervor that accompanied Y2K.
All right.
That would be a relatively short connection to the general idea of apocalypticism, and I'm having a lot of difficulty saying that word after a little bit of bourbon.
All right. Well, let me throw. I tell you what. I'm ready. I'm ready to go to it, except for one thing that I want to check with you first, and I don't know if you know this or not. Did you ever play the video game Quake?
I did not play the video game Quake, but I'm eager to hear more about it.
Well, there's a link here for the video game. I did not play it either, but I do know that there was some first-person shooter game that allowed you to play as a dinosaur as one of the options. Mm-hmm. It may have been Quake, but it may not have been. And if you knew that it was, I was going to say, let's go to Quake. But since you don't know, then I'm going to say, let's just do your Y2K nonsense and just see.
Nonsense is a very pejorative term. I'll just say that right now.
Does pejorative mean like mean?
Judgmental and mean and evil and bad.
Yeah. Then definitely. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, well, it's as terrible as my idea is. You have yet to come up with a better one. So
you're right.
Y2K it is. So conversion to a true ISP. In the second to last sentence, there is Prodigy Classic was discontinued in November 1999 with the official explanation that its aging software was not Y2K compliant. So Y2K takes us to the year 2000 problem. And fun fact, one of my first jobs and my longest standing job in Chicago, I worked for WGN Television, which WGN originally stood for World's Greatest Newspaper. No. Because the Tribune Company owned WGN at the time. And I worked on their Y2K project. And I was so successful at it that I worked there on their Y2K project until 2002.
Huh. So, I wonder if any of that's in here.
Probably not. I don't think my personal achievements were
probably not huge. Probably not a lot on here.
So there is a link to Apocalypse.
I do see that. I do see that.
One of the first links in the summary up top.
Before we go there, though, I did want to check out the background on this because I was curious about it. Did you know that it says here the Computer World's 1993 three-page Doomsday 2000 article by Peter de Jager, I believe is how you would pronounce that, was called the information age equivalent of the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere by the New York Times.
Nice.
So there you go. But they were talking about it back in 1985. There's a Usenet group that was talking about this as an issue. Gosh, I had no idea that people were talking about it that far ahead. Hey, and for those of you that are too young to know what this was, there was this whole. It was
a dark time, children.
There was this whole idea that there was going to be a problem because computers were going to look at the 2-digit date that had been used so often in their programming and in everything else and all the records and everything like that, and think that 00 meant 1900 instead of 2000, and it was going to cause real problems. I mean, the apocalyptic problems is what they thought was going to happen. Now, I don't know. Did Did it turn out to all just be not an issue, or did they just fix everything in time? Do you know?
I think a little column A, a little column B.
Oh, yeah?
I think that the first of all, there was a tremendous amount of diligent effort thrown at this by a lot of large organizations.
Mhm.
Like the stuff we did when I was working at WGN on this was like we had to contact every vendor that we dealt with, because I worked for like their engineering department, like a remote truck that would help broadcast Bulls games.
Mhm.
We had to call them and be like, hey, we need you to check with all of your vendors to confirm that Y2K is not going to be a problem for all of your stuff. So the truck vendor had to be like, hey, we checked with all our vendors and they said everything's okay, or we heard back. So we had to keep track of all of this stuff. It was ridiculous.
Huh.
Ridiculous, I say.
Sounds ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I don't know. I'm having a problem. I guess there were programming solutions to it. There were other problems apparently too that they were worried about, like September 9th, 1999. They were concerned since it could be written 9/9/99, and the 4 9s, 9999, were frequently used to specify an unknown date. So they were worried that like this was going to cause an issue. Leap years were causing problems. The year 2010 problem, which I had not heard about. The year 2022 problem. Oh, known as the Y2K22 bug. Did you know about this?
I didn't. I feel like these are all, not particularly amazing.
Microsoft's Exchange server was one of the most famous and significant systems affected by the Y22 bug. The problem caused emails to be stuck on transport queues on Exchange Server 2016 and Exchange Server 2019, reporting the following error. The FIPFS Microsoft scan engine failed to load PID 23092 error code 0x. Okay, I'm not going to read this whole thing.
I would like to point out to the listener that, if you listen to the last episode, you know that all of the stuff that falls under the external links category is now verboten per the dictate of Matt Hartman.
You were the one who put down the idea that we would do a race and whoever won got to choose. So you should live by your own.
Matt. I thought I would win.
Well,
it was a hollow.
Have you learned a lesson? Have you learned a lesson? I hope you've learned a lesson.
The wrong lesson.
Did you?
Okay. But yeah, so there's a lot of really there's a section called global catastrophic risks.
Why are you even looking at this?
Because I want to show the listener what they have been cheated out of by your tyranny, my friend.
Okay.
That's what I want. So there's a reference to Second Thessalonians here.
Good. Perfect.
There's stellar collision. There's also asteroid impact prediction. Come on, asteroid impact. Dinosaurs, we're right there. But we can't go there. There is a link because.
Now, hold on. There is a link in the main article for the NASA Deep Impact spacecraft.
Is there now?
Designed to study the interior composition of a comet. So I'm not saying that takes us directly there, but that does get us pretty darn close if you want to go that route. Do you want to go that route?
Well, I guess
Wayback Machine is on here. That the website, the Wayback Machine.
I guess the question I would have about the Deep Impact spacecraft is, and I'm hovering over, which according to the rules as they currently exist,
good Lord,
is still legal. I don't know. I mean, it's just like Roe v. Wade. Like, I thought that was settled law, but now everything's being overturned.
Okay, come on now.
I'm not saying.
Why are you comparing? How dare you make that comparison to these two? You can't.
Matt, I'm not saying that you're the Brett Kavanaugh of this podcast. But
thank you. I appreciate that.
You're more the Amy Coney Barrett. Anyway,
come on now.
But when I hover over the NASA Deep Impact spacecraft link, it talks about sort of running into a comet. So it's about the deep impact on the comet rather than the comet slamming into us. So for that reason, I would probably be more inclined to go with the apocalyptic link than the NASA Deep Impact.
Oh, you don't want to go with the end of the world link that takes us to global catastrophic risk or a doomsday scenario?
Where's that? Where? Who? What? Where? How? When? Why?
It's under fringe group responses.
Ooh,
and it
my
is in
favorite.
the second sentence, first paragraph. End of the world scenarios
Ooh.
and apocalyptic themes were common in their communication, is what it says.
Oh, look at
Now,
that.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Reverend
look.
Jerry
Oh,
Falwell suggested that Y2K would be the
Y2K.
confirmation. Y2, it's the Spanish. It's what they called Y2K in Mexico.
Why did they call it Y2K?
Y2K. Y2K. Were the I've lost it now. Would be the confirmation of Christian prophecy. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out Jerry Falwell, full of shit. Absolutely.
There you go. You know what else is on here? There's a link to Life's a Glitch, Then You Die, which is from Treehouse of Horror 10, the 4th episode of the 11th season of The Simpsons. Now, The Simpsons absolutely has references to dinosaurs, maybe even specifically to Archaeopteryx. I don't know about that, but we could go through The Simpsons if you want to have some fun.
We could. I would say
no
that
fun. Okay, all right. You've already rolled it out. I see. All right.
That's right. I'm famously anti-fun. I would say that The Simpsons is only slightly more specific than television as a link, just because it's been going on for like. In fact, I think the first writers for The Simpsons were Archaeopteryx.
They may very well have been.
All right. So
yeah,
apocalyptic. I see. What else? What else?
No, End of the World, I think, is the way. If you mouse over End of the World, you're going to see an image that is generally the same image they show when they're showing like whatever it is impacting the Earth and destroying the dinosaurs.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I like it. Let's do it. End of the World.
End of the World.
And again, we don't have the appropriate rights to the REM song right now, but
yeah,
you're all singing it in your head right now.
Global catastrophic risk is what it actually takes us to.
Or doomsday scenario is a hypothetical future that could damage human well-being on a global scale.
And I want to point out that there is that same image is to the right, and it says artist's impression of a major asteroid impact. An asteroid caused the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs, and that all is linked.
Oh, I like it.
So
extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs is there.
Yes.
Like my only criticism of this is it specifically says non-avian dinosaurs, and the Archaeopteryx is got to be an avian dinosaur.
So you don't think that it's going to discuss the fact that was able to live? Like it seems like you want to go to extinction. That's on here too. I mean, but I think that's going to have references to Archaeopteryx because
Matt, I'm a middle-aged white man.
Yeah.
And I am incapable of hearing an opinion without immediately voicing the most minor quibble I have with it, even if I am in 99% agreement with. So I apologize, but that is part of my my DNA.
Jethro, I have good news.
What?
Star
news
Trek is linked on this page.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried it wouldn't be.
We can go to Star Trek, which actually has an episode that discusses the Alvarez hypothesis, which, as you recall, is the hypothesis that says that an asteroid killed all the dinosaurs. So we could go into Star Trek and probably get to this.
I feel like you're being pulled by the gravitational pull of your love of Star Trek rather than the quickest path to the Archaeopteryx. So I think the link that you found in terms of there's also speculative evolution, which is linked here.
Speculative evolution. Oh, that's interesting.
Which is a genre of speculative fiction and artistic movement focused on the hypothetical scenarios in the evolution of life, and is a significant form of fictional biology.
No,
so I guess that's future casting of where evolution might go, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't like that one as much. There is list of global issues. No, that's probably no good. Oh, that's going to be like what's going wrong in our planet right now.
I mean, first of all, I will point out that the image, the first image in the article that's off to the right, that has a link for the extinction of non-avian dinosaurs. The picture, in the pop-up is the exact same picture.
Yes, it is.
Which, dear listener, we must point out is not a picture of the actual extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs. And do you know how I know this, Matt?
How
you
do,
know
how,
how I
do-
know
how,
it?
how do you know for sure, Jethro?
Because the picture is in color, and color photography was not invented until
That's it. That's a
like
great
the 50s or
that's a,
60s.
that is, you know what? See, I love how you're arguing from evidence, and that's
Science.
That's what I like.
Science.
I think that's going to be the best way to go. I've looked through the rest of the page. I do see some, I do see extinction. I see dung beetle is on here. These are all biological things. Black swan is in here, but which is a bird. So maybe bird is a quicker thing. But I think it's going to be this link to actually what does it actually take us to? It takes us to
the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna guess. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Also known as the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction, was a sudden mass extinction of 3/4 of the planet and animal species on Earth.
Yikes!
Yikesy bikesies.
That's a lot. Almost as many as are about to die based on everything that we're doing right now. So that's kind of fun.
But not if you become a Patreon subscriber. If you at the $1 billion a second Patreon subscriber, Matt and I will personally solve global warming. That is
there you go.
Our pledge to you.
Yep. I want to point out that Louis Alvarez, and the Alvarez hypothesis is linked on this page, is discussed on this page. So there you go. I see the exception of some ectothermic species such as sea turtles and crocodilians, no pteropods weighing more than 25 kilograms, or as you Americans like to say, 55 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So interestingly, if you look at the headers at the top of the article, there's one for archosaurs.
Oh,
the archosaur clade includes 2 surviving groups, crocodilians and birds.
Okay.
Along with the various extinct groups of non-avian dinosaurs and pterosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
But under the bird subsection of the archosaur section is a link to the origin of birds, which I think is likely to have an Archaeopteryx connection.
You don't think Archaeopteryx is on this page?
It might be, but it also might not be.
Wow. Don't look. I don't want you to say things that you might have to take back later.
I don't know if you know how logic works.
It could happen, or it could not happen. I'm going to keep checking out the page because I think that there's a chance that it's actually on this page.
Well, there's
a lot of discussion of a lot of different species on here. The Ichthyosaurus is on here talking about how it disappeared from the record. And so I think it's going to be on here. I see the pterosaurs, which is like your pterodactyl, I believe. But although pterosaurs, as I understand it, not actually dinosaurs. Like pterosaur is a separate thing from dinosaurs. So I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but
of course I knew that.
You did? Oh, okay. I didn't know that actually until pretty recently.
I know a lot of things, Matt.
Pretty recently. So just dinosaurs is linked on here as well. That may very well have Archaeopteryx on its page.
We're not going to get better than origin of birds.
You think so?
If the Archaeopteryx is the missing link between dinosaurs and birds, then it's got to be on the origin of birds page, right?
Yes. Is it? Well, yes. If it is indeed the missing link between dinosaurs and birds, I'm not sure that I know for certain that is the case, because they've found that a lot of dinosaurs had feathers, like Archaeopteryx did. It's just Archaeopteryx was the first one they found that had feathers. So I think at this point,
do you doubt my brother?
I don't doubt that is what was taught at that time, but I think at this point, I think it may have changed. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It may not be like first of all,
right?
Like saying that anything is the link between species A and species B is to deny the continuum of evolution.
Well, those aren't even species. Let's be clear, because dinosaurs and birds aren't species, right?
Okay, Captain Science. I guess my point is to say that that anything is the boundary between category A and category B is to fail to acknowledge the continuum along which the human imposed categories
yes.
are.
The things that we made up, yeah.
Yeah, but we made things up for real. Like take raccoons, for example. Like we made up raccoons.
Okay,
we said, raccoons. Hey, we said, hey, we're going to call these things raccoons. But if you go back in all the raccoons, parents, like eventually you're going to hit something that's not a raccoon. You're gonna like, what the fuck? And
and
there you go. It'll be a different thing. It'll be a non-raccoon.
You think that's what I'm going to say?
That people will say that.
Okay.
Eventually, everyone has to say it. If you believe in raccoons, then you believe in non-raccoons. And eventually, if you keep going back the parental path, you'll hit something in the raccoon parent path that is a non-raccoon. Now, the problem is that not everybody agrees on the exact precise boundary of that. So something like the origin of birds is going to have, a number of theories as far as like what are the critical points. But name me a more famous transitional fossil species between dinosaurs and birds than Archaeopteryx.
I can't do it.
I dare you, sir.
No,
I dare you.
Do it. No, I can't do it.
So
I admit.
So there we have it.
Origin of birds is what you want to go to.
Okay. That is exactly what I wish
on the origin of birds. I believe that was or origin of birds.
There we go. And look at that. That's an interesting picture that's off to the right there.
What is that picture of?
What is it a picture of? I wonder. Let's read the words underneath it, Matt. Why don't you read them out loud?
Actually, I'm going to read this sentence here. A close relationship between birds and dinosaurs was first proposed in the 19th century. The 19th century after the discovery of the primitive bird, Archaeopteryx.
Yay! We did it.
In Germany. So there you go. It's linked. But yeah, it was discovered in the 19th century. Good Lord. I thought it was more recent than that. But there you go. Not at all.
We just didn't listen.
Just didn't listen. That's right. Why didn't we listen to the people that found Archaeopteryx? Let's see what it says here. Sometimes referred to by its German name, Urvogel. Or literally primeval bird. It is a genus of bird-like dinosaurs. The name derives from the ancient Greek archaios, meaning ancient. Teptrix meaning feather or wing. Terex,
you know why the Germans called it Urvogel?
Why is that?
Because when a German scientist reconstructed the fossil remains of an Archaeopteryx and it looked like a dinosaur with feathers, he said, "Did I do that?" Pause for laughter.
That is not why I am pausing.
I'm sure. Listen, it was you. You tell me. You tell me a better Family Matters Urkel German paleontologist.
You dare me? You dare me again?
I dare you.
Dare me? Dare away, my friend.
Doff my cap to you, sir.
Jethro, we have reached Archaeopteryx. I'm not going to look too much on the page, just in case once again there is a tie and we have to race through Wikipedia, which I finally won one last week when it didn't. Well, it mattered. Maybe it mattered the most.
But you get to impose your abusive rules upon us.
I did abusive. Thank you for being pejorative, as I've learned. So this took us 5 links, Jethro, and I'm going to tell you
what
5 is what I predicted.
You guessed 5? Oh, you son of a bitch!
6. I got you. Ha ha!
You got me.
Well done, me. Well, we're tied 1-1 after 2 episodes. And we end up on Archaeopteryx. Boy, this is great. I don't know. These have been 2 fantastic destinations so far. I can't imagine what the rest of our season has in store for us.
I'm looking forward to finding out from our delightful guests and to go on the journey with you, sir.
Yes, and I with you. And let's do it again next week.
Cheers.
Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkards Walk. Thanks again to Jesse L.E. for our theme music and Nick Harmio for our artwork. A big thank you to you for listening this week. We hope that you continue to listen. Hope you subscribe on iTunes or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Please give us a rating or review if you have a moment to do that. It really helps us out. And don't forget about our Patreon. All of this and more at Linktree/drunkardswalk. That's linktr.ee/drunkardswalk. Head on over, check out all of our links. Give us a topic suggestion, send us an email, whatever it is you'd like to do to interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week.